What's up guys and welcome to a top 10 spooky Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're going to be looking at some of the Yu-Gi-Oh card artworks that send a chill up your spine. I think the last time I did one of these was like 3 years ago, so if there are any monsters that I don't include on this list, the reason is they were probably on that video all those years ago. So yeah, I'd like to invite you to a top 10 spooky Yu-Gi-Oh card artworks. At number 10, I've gone with PARASITE. PARASITE. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're looking at this monster from its international artwork, it's not really that scary at all. It's just a little insect, not really going to scare you at all. Maybe if you have a fear of insects, that might be a thing. And maybe the thought of just like that little creature sort of scurrying towards you on the floor. Maybe, but that's about all you're going to get from this. The real horror that you get from this card is from its Japanese artwork. The artwork depicts the creature having somehow been inside this soldier and is now trying to burrow its way out of this person's face. This raises a lot of questions. How did the creature get inside? Did another version of the PARASITE come along, lay some eggs maybe in this guy's ear, and eventually it grew up and then just wanted to, you know, burrow out the face? And just the artwork of the card that just depicts the act of the thing coming out. It just wants to get out by any means necessary. It's terrifying. If you've played the game The Last of Us, then this might give you reminiscent thoughts of the cordyceps virus, which is a real thing in nature, where these spores go inside of ants and they sort of take over the mind of their host and start controlling them. This is what the spore's doing to them. So this is the kind of vibe I get from PARASITE, and yeah, its artwork is pretty creepy. At number 9, I've gone with the Umbral Horror archetype. This archetype is probably the most tame of the cards that we're going to see on this list. However, they were used by Vector in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal anime, and the cards themselves are representations of shadow. Keeping this in mind, when you look at the card artworks for these cards, you realise that you never really get a true grasp of what these monsters really are. As well, each one of the Umbral Horror monsters is a little bit more twisted than the last. So if you were to find any of these creatures in your home, I still think you would pretty much brick your pants in fright. These monsters are definitely a fitting archetype for Vector, if I'm being completely honest with you. And with cards such as Umbral Ghost, Ghoul, Uniform, and Umbral Horror Will-o'-the-Wisp, there you go. Similar to Umbral Horror, we're sticking with the horror kind of theme. I'm going to go with Cosmic Horror. So the alien archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't really that scary. They're just aliens, nothing too bad about them. However, their boss monsters, Cosmic Horror Gangliel and Cosmic Fortress Golgar, are a completely different story. They're basically these two gigantic, terrifying looking monsters that kind of have like tentacly, insecty, hybrid looking looks to them. They're something that you don't want to see slurping towards you, I guess. They are a force that you do not want to go against, what with their enormous size and menacing face and teeth. So let's just hope that these creatures do not invade Earth. Would really appreciate it. Clowns. Clowns are all the rage nowadays, what with the It movie coming out, as well as all those like people that dress up as clowns and just stand in the darkness and stare at people that you see on YouTube nowadays. Pretty haunting, really. So with this in mind, of course, we're going to add a clown monster to this list. But not just a clown monster. A zombie clown. Clown zombie is a creature that you would not want to see down a storm drain anywhere near your home. Or anywhere for that matter. Its initial creepiness is from the clown look and the fact that all of its skin and everything is sort of eroding away and its clothes are all tattered. But we also have the added bonus of this monster also being an undead zombie. So those two things together equals, you know, a little bit more horror. And if those two things aren't enough to get the fear in you, then I know what will. It's attack points. With 1,350 attack, I shudder at the thought of doing the little bit of extra maths involved whenever you attack this card. Malice Doll of Demise is a haunting looking creature, very reminiscent of Chucky, a doll basically that comes back to life and tries to kill people. If the gigantic murderous axe and the dead lifeless eyes aren't enough to really freak you out, then it has to be the disgusting mouth that it has. If you've ever watched a film called Krampus, one of the creatures in that film has a very similar mouth to this, where it basically just unhinges itself and just starts munching on people. This monster's artwork, I get very similar vibes from that, so I kind of wonder if Malice Doll of the Mice has ever unhinged its jaw to consume. As a little bonus as well, I'm going to throw in Snowman Eater as well, because this monster kind of has that Christmassy, deceptive vibe to it, where in reality is actually hiding something very sinister underneath itself. The entire white archetype is pretty much terrifying just at a base level. They're like skeleton people. That's all you really need for horror, to be honest with you. White prince and white princess are basically skeleton children, or just undead children, and they even have little skeleton looking dogs that they look after, which is a haunting enough thought when you kind of really think about it. However, white mare is a skeleton man with this demonic, fiendish looking spirit thing behind it. Not too sure exactly what it is. I don't think I really want to know. However, the lady in white is the one that I think really takes the spooky cake, if I'm being completely honest with you. She is probably the most genuinely disturbing looking one out of the bunch, with just a haunting appearance sitting there in a throne by herself in this dark corridor looking thing with these cobwebs all around her. It's just disturbing. Ghoul with an Appetite is probably the most tame of a couple of the cards that are coming up on this list in just a few moments. However, it is pretty chilling when you really look at it. We've got the cold, lifeless eyes. Pretty standard. It'll consume without any remorse whatsoever. However, the stomach is what really gets me. It is a stitched up stomach that is sort of open. That's pretty disgusting. The lore behind this monster is what I think really makes this card. It's a creature that has an endless appetite, and it has never quelled its hunger. So what we can really take from this artwork is this monster just consumes things, people, whatever, and it just needs to have so much more that it's willing to just rip apart its stomach to get even more space so it can eat even more. It is disgusting. Also, if we look at the face of this monster, you'll notice that it doesn't have any teeth. So this leads me to believe that it's swallowing its victims whole. Now, if you thought Ghoul with an Appetite looked a bit weird, then Ill Blood, oh my god. I don't know who designed the artwork of this card, but it is basically a creature within a creature. The initial look of the monster, its face is already silhouetted in darkness, with just these two piercing orange eyes that you see. It's dressed in some sort of jailer uniform, which is revealed that inside it is something else entirely. What is this inside of this creature? Is it a portal to a demon world? Is it the true form of this monster? The artwork as well gives us the impression that this monster was locked away, and for good reason. Gate Deeg is next, and its description reads, "This weird monster has a portal in its belly that brings reinforcements from the farthest reaches of the Netherworld." The look of this monster is almost a combination of the two previous monsters, Ill Blood and Ghoul with an Appetite. It is a creature with dead eyes and sickly pale skin, horrible manky looking hands, and a gash that goes throughout its body that's been stitched together, which houses the creatures of which are trying to escape. Basically, this is a monster that you never ever want to see, because if you see that monster, you will know there are more monsters lurking about. I have to imagine that they are hungry. Now, the Outer Entity archetype, also known as the Outer Gods archetype in the OCG, are based on the Outer Gods from H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. While some of the monsters do actually look pretty awesome, like Elder Entity Nutus, Elder Entity Norden, and Old Entity Hastor. However, Outer Entity Azathoth and Old Entity Cthulhu are not one of those monsters. They are two creatures that I do believe would not think twice before eating you. However, the real awful looking Outer Entity creature has to go to Outer Entity Nyala. This abomination needs to be killed, and it needs to be killed with fire. Its twisted appearance, its lack of eyes, and unsettling teeth all over its body really do make this artwork the stuff of nightmares. Whoever made the artwork for this card, fair play to ya, it looks really good, but you've put too much detail in it. I could almost imagine this card just being on the roof of the room you're in right now, just descending down, ready to grab ya and pull you up. Ugh! That is why it is so horrifying. Anything with these kind of horrible tentacles and this sort of warped look to it is absolutely terrifyingly disgusting. I would not like to see that in reality, and I'm going to have to give that monster the #1 spot on my top 10 spooky card artworks. With that though, guys, I'm going to call that a video there. Let me know what you thought of my choices in the comments section below. Were there any other cards that you think are more creepy than the ones that I've listed in today's episode? Let me know in the comment section below. But other than that, guys, I want to wish you all a happy Halloween. Catch you later.